everybody. Good afternoon. This is TraumaTalk in 10, and we are going to be talking today about comparative suffering. And this is week 1 of a 3-week series that I am starting. So week 1 is going to be, again, comparative suffering. Week 2 is going to be think more and feel less, which again, these are barriers. And number 3 is going to be coping to eliminate feelings. So we'll be doing this every Tuesday at 3:30. I hope you can catch it live or catch the replay. So welcome, whether you're watching me live or the replay later today. Please comment below and let me know who's watching, or comment if you have any questions. I'm Bonnie Barclay. I'm a therapist in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I am the owner of Creekside Counseling and Wellness. Feel free to grab something to write with, take some time to jot down anything that might resonate with you. And also be sure to check out my posts this week. As in every week when I have a Facebook Live, I try to post additional information for you related to the topic that I'm going to be discussing. So today we're going to unpack this whole concept of comparative suffering and how it can negatively impact you seeking support or your overall healing process. So let's go ahead and jump in. So how many times have you been going through a difficult time, you've been in distress, maybe even feeling miserable, and said to yourself, "Why am I so upset? It could be worse." I hear comments like this every day. How can I complain? I know people who have it so much worse. I am sad that my boyfriend broke up with me, but really, how can I be sad? My friend lost her mother to cancer. I did not think my abuse was that bad. This from a person who experienced years of emotional abuse. I mean, it could have been worse. At least he never hit me. While this can be our attempt to cope, to seek relief and move out of pain, it can often backfire. So with these comments, now you may start feeling even worse, because not only experiencing the pain of the original situation, you've now got guilt, maybe even shame on top of that for just having this emotional experience, as well as the pain that comes from not making room for these feelings. So basically, through comparison, we tell ourselves that we are not allowed to feel our feelings, and therefore we invalidate them. That is what is at the heart of comparative suffering. Now, there's other aspects of comparative suffering, but for today, we're going to stay focused on this piece that can be a barrier to healing. I see my clients grappling with this in terms of looking at trauma from a big T or little t perspective. Does it really justify their feelings or even their need for help? Pain is pain, no matter how it stacks up against another's. Comparative suffering is when we view our painful experiences in terms of what other people are going through in order to determine the validity our suffering warrants, a ranking system, if you will. So again, we aren't allowed to complain or feel our feelings when someone else has it worse than us. This mindset actually makes our suffering feel heavier and can leave us feeling not just exhausted or overwhelmed or even worried, but alone too. For trauma survivors, this alone sense is a key trigger to how they experience their abuse, suffering alone, being alone in that pain. Dr. Brené Brown describes comparative suffering as ranking our suffering against that of others, which then is used to deny or give ourselves permission to feel. Brown emphasizes that comparative suffering is driven by a mentality of fear and scarcity in which empathy is believed to be a limited resource. Empathy is not a limited resource. So what do we do about this? So today I'm going to give you 3 tips, and hopefully you can take away one, if not all. So number 1, embrace self-compassion and realize you are not alone in your suffering. So self-compassion has 3 key areas: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. So self-compassion utilizes the lens of common humanity in order to realize that we are not alone in our suffering, to normalize our experience. It goes further by emphasizing mindfulness, which is, what am I feeling? What do I need right now? Self-kindness, this is a way that we validate our experience and give ourselves the affirmations that we need. Brown discusses how empathy is the antidote for shame. When we attend to our own feelings and needs, we can create compassion, not only for ourselves, but for others. So number 2, utilize dialectical thinking. The idea that we can have 2 opposing statements that both hold truth and are valid. One way to utilize this approach is by replacing but with and. Let's notice the difference. I feel sad because I lost my dog, but my neighbor lost her husband to cancer, so I shouldn't be this upset. Versus, I feel sad because I lost my dog, and my neighbor is also sad and suffering because she lost her husband to cancer. It allows us to hold them both. While but negates and minimizes our experiences and allows us to recognize the pain others may experience, while also validating our own emotional experience, it brings it into our awareness that all human beings suffer, and all suffering is valid, including ours. One person's experience with suffering doesn't negate anyone else's emotional pain. So number 3, what if we keep our struggles in perspective, but also allow ourselves to express them? Or maybe, and also allow ourselves to express them. So perspective can be defined as a true understanding of the relative importance of things, a sense of proportion. A gratitude practice can help keep balance and perspective. Being thankful or grateful does not mean pretending your struggle does not exist. You can do both. And finally, another way to balance and keep perspective is by using healthy supports. So the hard truth is that we can all get in this place of comparative suffering. The good news is there is always a way to keep it in check. Challenge yourself today to pick one of the 3 tips or steps to implement over the next 30 days and see what you notice. What comes about? Use that mindfulness piece and bring it into what are you noticing when you bring this to your awareness right now and implement one of these tips. I hope you will join me for the next couple of weeks as we continue to unpack these 3 barriers. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.